want to talk about Michigan? We can talk about Michigan if you really want to. I mean, it was surprising that Maryland gave them as much of a fight as they did. It was surprising that Michigan's pass rush is really not as good as what I thought they were going to be. I know they lost everybody, but I thought with the recruiting that Michigan has, they kind of replace everybody almost like a poor man's Alabama. But Maryland, Talia was good. The offense was good. They fought Michigan tooth and nail throughout that whole game. And, if it wasn't for Blake Corum, Michigan loses this football game, I think.
Yeah, I think Michigan got some help. Obviously, that opening kickoff, I don't think the interception was, at least the first one, I definitely don't think that was an interception, and they didn't even review it, which was super surprising to me. But, yeah, man, I think Michigan has some stuff that they need to clean up because Maryland, while you might think they're better or that, they fought hard, not better than Michigan, but just better than previous thoughts of what Maryland was, I still don't think that that's a very good football team. I think they have, some big issues on defense. You mentioned they gave up 500 yards to SMU before they played Michigan. I thought McCarthy was pretty careless. Not with he didn't have any turnovers. He did fumble once, but Michigan was able to get back on it. But just careless with his body, man. He's running. He's getting killed. He's not having the pocket awareness that he needs to have, and he's getting blasted that way. So. While you're Michigan, and this is something that we talked about before the game, I guess, which is just why I wanted to touch on it a little bit, is while that might not hurt you against Maryland, when you play one of these better teams, that might end up costing you. And it's just something that a better team can look at and say, okay, Michigan can be exposed that way. Maryland didn't have the players to expose Michigan that way, but we do. So now when we face Michigan, it'll be a bigger problem than what we saw on Saturday. But, yeah, I think Michigan was in real danger of losing that game. But they won it, and they won games like that last year. They had the Nebraska game, which was really close. They had the Penn State game, which was really close as well. And, talk about college football is survive in advance, right? If you keep winning, you're going to put yourself in a position at the end of the year to be in the Big Ten race. It'll probably come down to Michigan and Ohio State, in Columbus at the end of the year. And then the winner of that goes to the Big Ten championship game where they're going to smack whoever is in the West. And then the winner of that, unless they have 2 losses or something, is going to be in the college football playoff. So Michigan just kind of they have to avoid these types of games and these types of mistakes heading into, was it November 26th is when I think they play Ohio State. So I think that's what I would be worried about if I was a Michigan fan. I thought this game was a little bit more concerning. It was obviously closer than you wanted, but that happens. But I thought there were real things to be concerned about, especially if Cade's hurt too. And again, JJ was just so careless with himself.
Yeah, no, JJ's got to understand he's got to take a little better care of himself because the offense really now does ride on him being the guy getting the job done at the quarterback position. His throws weren't quite on the mark, as we've seen obviously against a lesser competition. So there's going to be it was a good in the sense of there were growing pains that were obvious to see, but it didn't kill the Wolverines, and they still got the W walking out of there. Obviously Blake Corum is the reason they got out of there with that W. His ability to just put that team on his back, because the running game outside of that, Donovan Edwards better get healthy again quick, because I don't think Stokes is going to be passing the mustard as far as backing up when Corum has to go out for a breather. And JJ obviously didn't do nearly as much with his legs as we've seen him against lesser competition, and you don't want him doing that much obviously anyway. There's issues with that. You just even more of a risk to get injured, and he can be that engine that can really push Michigan into an elite offense if he can stay healthy and get those passes on point. But the O-line needs to do a bit of a better job, and the D-line, that pass rush, definitely needs to do a better job before they go face Ohio State at the end of the year. Luckily for them, they've got Iowa this week coming up, and Iowa is not exactly an offensive juggernaut, but we will talk more about that on our next show when we get you guys prepared for the games between Michigan State and Maryland, kind of a game, and the game between Michigan and Iowa, as well as obviously the Detroit Lions and the Seattle Seahawks. So, now, I want to thank you guys for kicking it with Griffin and Bass. For a fuzzy Ryan Griffin, I'm Matt Bassin. As always, Wu-Tang is for the children.
Even fuzzy Wu-Tang is for the children. Blurry Wu-Tang.
We'll see y'all in a couple days. Peace.
480p Wu-Tang. See you.
Hey, Ryan Griffin here. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Griffin and Bass. Be sure to give us your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to click the bell to receive the latest notifications from DSN and subscribe for breaking news, community blogs, polls, contests, and other content.